This is Dilly.
Dilly dilly. Dilly dilly.
Dilly
Dilly dilly. Dilly dilly.
is a tailless, hairless, humanoid singing opossum.
What is that?
Let's hear if we can pick out some dulcet tones of Dilly
Dilly dilly. Dilly dilly.
warming up.
Please follow Sir Brad. He's going to give you a private tour of the pit of misery. Pit of misery. Dilly dilly.
Dilly.
Here's to the friends you can always count on. Bud Light, brewed to be America's favorite light lager.
What's going on, everyone? Jeremy here from the corner. I'm going to start out the day with some good news. Good news. Cigarette juice. Oh, wait, that's an obscure reference to spaghetti. Anyway, good news. You're doing it. You're doing really well. The new financials are out for Budweiser, or well, Anheuser-Busch technically, and they have lost $400 million in the second quarter. $400 million, nearly $500 million, and it's because of a pushback from regular people who are sick of companies getting super duper woke and being getting political and hiring the wrong person at literally the wrong time. It came in the summer of revenge, I think, for many people, where Target received massive backlash. Bud Light, Ben & Jerry's, all these woke companies received a massive amount of pushback. And this latest report is just great to read through. By the way, I'm going to put a link down in the description below. I know most of you know about Coffee Brand Coffee. It's my coffee company. We roast our own. It's available in whole bean and ground. I'm hoping that today will be the day you click a new tab or you go to coffeebrandcoffee.com and use promo code TheQuartering. We've got just an incredible summer lineup with s'more. We've obviously got unflavored coffee, some of the best Colombian. We've got dark roast Ethiopian. Whatever you like, we've got you, and it's fresher than anything you're going to find in the grocery store. But we've got these summer flavors. If you get a little unflavored cream and you try our s'mores, our orange creamsicle, peaches and cream, the hazelnut, Rocky Road, the sticky cinnamon bun is ridiculously good. This in addition to our already like blockbuster, blueberry cobbler, which everybody loves, and the strawberries and cream. Give them a try. And our cold brews, they're only available for the rest of this month. So if you haven't done that, please consider supporting local business. I'm right here in the United States. We have our own staff. This isn't some drop ship rebrand thing. We're a real company with real employees and thousands of 5-star reviews. So give us a try. Anheuser-Busch. Sorry for the long push or the long sell there, but it's been a while since I tried to make an authentic ask. Okay. Try out the coffee. If you don't like it, I'll give you your money back. Very few companies will do that. Anheuser-Busch lost a staggering $390 million in just the second quarter as Bud Light sales to retailers plunge 14% in wake of the brand's partnership with Dylan, the brand destroyer. Anheuser-Busch lost a whopping $390 million in the United States sales in wake of its partnership. The parent company blamed the volume decline of Bud Light for the drop in revenue of the second quarter, with figures showing that the total United States revenue dropped by 10.5%. Get a German Shepherd, they said. Get 2 German Shepherds, they said. They're cute. Are you guys done? Thank you. The parent company blamed the volume decline of Bud Light for the drop in revenue, obviously, with figures showing that total U.S. revenue dropped by 10.5% from April to June, and that's because of you. For the second quarter of 2022, Anheuser-Busch still sold $2.73 billion worth of beer to retailers, but for the second quarter of 22, that was in 22, sorry, in 23, it dropped to $2.35 billion, a slump of $390 million in just 1 year. And as a percentage, you're talking about more than 10%. Bud Light's popularity has been dropping ever since the brewer Anheuser-Busch teamed up with Dylan, the brand destroyer, in April. In a statement, the company put the declining sales down to the backlash they faced for partner. I can't even believe they actually admitted it. Like, they actually admitted it. Yep, this is because of Dylan. They're probably going to get sued for that. Of course, for the can was gifted to Dylan, the brand destroyer, to celebrate 365 days of, quote, being a girl, pretending to be a girl. The phrase Dylan uses to describe the transition, there was no transition. Some minor facial reconstructive surgery and putting on some makeup. That's it. That transition could have happened in one day. The debate over trans rights is a current hot button. It's not about, first of all, there's not a single right that trans people don't have that non-trans people have. There's not a single one. Okay. In fact, in many cases, they have more rights, including having everyone else around in the world have to bend the knee and make sure they feel comfortable, like by allowing biological men into the women's room or women's locker rooms. This is a right that trans people have, the right to feel safe and validated, that the non-trans people in that women's restroom or locker room do not have. They don't get to say, hey, I don't want a biological male's junk hanging out here in the locker room. They don't get to say that. If they do, they'll lose their job. They can get banned from social media, all this stuff. Bad people show up and protest them just for saying, hey, I don't really want a biological man in the locker room. That is an example of trans supremacy, basically. Gender critical feminists oppose letting biological men into female-only spaces, such as women's shelters. There is also widespread opposition to them competing in women's sports. Well, what do you mean? This is like every normal person on the planet agrees with this. It's not up for debate. Like this is just being a rational thinker. Anheuser-Busch owns Modelo in countries outside of the United States after an antitrust settlement with the Department of Justice in 2013 over fears it would stifle competition. It means that the U.S. sales of Modelo are controlled by a rival, Constellation Brands, and do not count as part of AB InBev's global volume. So for a lot of people, including me, I thought that they were like the same company, but it actually isn't. So as Modelo rises in the United States to the number one spot, sure, the brand is owned by InBev and maybe they get some sort of kickback for that, but they're not getting the money. Modelo surpassed Bud Light's $297 million, which was a 22.8% fall in sales compared to the same time last year. They reported an 11% increase in sales for the second quarter of this year. It is the first time since 2001 that Bud Light has not been in the top spot, dethroning its sister brand Budweiser for the King of Beer title. So it was either Budweiser or Bud Light on the top of the charts for the last 20 plus years. And you're speaking out. You're, getting involved online. You're telling your buddies, asking your buddies when their bottom surgery is, when they're having a Bud Light. That changed history. There's no small feat. 20 years they were at the top. And now they're not anymore. Among the ongoing issues, Anheuser-Busch forced two of its top executives to take a leave of absence. By the way, where are they at? I keep getting told that they weren't actually fired, but it's been like 6 months. April, May, June, July, August. It's been 4 months. How long is this leave of absence? There were claims that both executives had finally been fired over the fiasco, something which the company denies. The VP of Marketing, Alyssa Heinerschneid, and VP of Mainstream Brands, Daniel Blake, both took a voluntary leave of absence following the backlash. I doubt it was voluntary. I bet you their option was, we're going to make you the fall guy for this. You can either get paid for the next year or whatever and not show up to work, or you can not get paid. Which do you choose? Sources told the Daily Caller that both had been fired following the announcement that they would be stepping back in April. When approached by DailyMail.com earlier this month, a friend of Heinerscheid said she's not supposed to talk about it and can't. Again, they paid them off. They probably got some sort of golden parachute. Dylan recently broke silence on the fiasco and excoriated the troubled brand for not standing by Dylan. Speaking to 1.8 million people, Dylan said they were waiting for the brand to reach out, but they never did, and that they've been scared to leave their house. I don't know why they'd be scared to leave their house. They're worshipped by the mainstream media. They have personal security. It's wild, but this is, Anheuser-Busch admits to continued plunge in Bud Light sales, insists the United States still has a favorable view of the brand. Well, I mean, if it's like a presidential vote or presidential favorability scale, it's like 51% favorable. Everybody loves Joe Biden. He has a 51%, or not even just whatever president. It's never higher than 50 or 60%. I don't think they have a favorable view. You see, we are seeing share of market improvement everywhere, and more consumers are reaching for our beers than our competitors. Well, that's because you own all of them. Molson Coors CEO Gavin Hattersley said in an earnings call Tuesday, Coors and Miller Lite are now 50% bigger than Bud Light by total industry dollars. He continued last year. Last year, Bud Light was bigger than both. Retailers are making space for our brands as demand increases. That's so nuts. Let me read that again. Coors Light and Miller Lite are now 50% bigger than Bud Light in total industry dollars. He continued, and then just last year, Bud Light was bigger than both of them. Yikes. Good job, everybody. Keep it up.